Hi, my name is Jessica Marks, and I'm doing my speech today on alcohol being legal, so why isn't marijuana? I'm going to start with a little riddle, so riddle me this: what am I? It's more popular for young people than tobacco. It kills in excess of 85,000 people a year. It's the leading factor in approximately 41% of all deaths from motor vehicle accidents. If you use it for a period of time, it will cause you to have liver disease, cancer, cardiovascular disease, and neurological damage, as well as psychiatric problems, depression, anxiety, and will cause you to have antisocial personality disorder. Our country encourages the use of this and approves the usage of this product by preventing other options to become legal. It may in fact be a way for our country to control the population growth. It's a part of a $57 billion a year industry. Who am I? And when I'm talking about here, it's the bottle of beer in your refrigerator, it's the tasty bottle of schnapps in your alcohol cabinet, in your liquor cabinet. It's alcohol. All of those facts are alcohol related. Riddle me this, and what am I? It does not cause cancer or other deadly diseases. You cannot become physically dependent upon it. It's safer than all other recreational drugs, including alcohol. Our country spends $7 billion a year to keep it out of our reach. Oh, and it's never been the cause of anyone's death. People have died from taking Tylenol and ibuprofen, but never from this. I'm all natural, and I grow in the ground. Who am I? The answer is marijuana. And I know the term marijuana tends to scare people and even make some think of the word drugs. But there are more drugs on the shelves of your local drugstore than in the contents and makeup of marijuana itself. Excuse me just a second. And when we talk about the definition of drugs, the definition of a drug is specifically stated as a chemical substance such as a narcotic or a hallucinogen that affects the central nervous system and is used recreationally for perceived desirable effects on personality, perception, and behavior. Many recreational drugs are used illicitly and can be addictive. Which substances really fall under this definition? Many recreational drugs are used illicitly and can be addictive. Considering the last sentence of that statement and the possibility of addiction, alcohol and other medications in your medicine cabinet fall under this term, but marijuana doesn't. And did you know that marijuana has an annual cash crop value of $35 billion in the United States alone? That's more than hay, soy, corn. It's the leading cash crop in our country today. With our current economy taking those facts into consideration, this crop could become our nation's way out of our recession. Think of the millions of dollars we would save by decriminalizing marijuana. Can you imagine the money we would spend keeping people in jail? Can you imagine the amount of money we spend keeping people in jail and prison every day for possession of a healthy substance? How do we do this? Well, let's tax it. Why are we not legalizing marijuana in this country right now and mandating taxes and regulations on it? The tax money earned in 1 year will make a huge impact on our country's deficit. This becomes the answer. Why make our children's children pay for mistakes we made when we have the resources to resolve it within our reach? There are already 15 states in the United States that have legalized marijuana medically, starting with California in 1996, Alaska, Arizona, California, Colorado, D.C., Hawaii, Maine, Michigan, Montana, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington are all saying, we think it's okay and safe enough for our doctors to prescribe this as a medication. Some other views that I think are interesting: Jocelyn Elders, she's a medical doctor, and she's our formal U.S. Surgeon General, and she states the following, and I quote, "The evidence is overwhelming that marijuana can relieve certain types of pain, nausea, vomiting, and other symptoms caused by such illnesses as multiple sclerosis, cancer, and AIDS, or by the harsh drugs sometimes used to treat them, and it can do so with remarkable safety. Indeed, marijuana is less toxic than many of the drugs that physicians prescribe every day." And again, that's a statement from our previous U.S. Surgeon General. Lester Grinspoon, also a medical doctor, he's from Harvard Medical School, and he's the emeritus professor of psychiatry, and he states, and I quote, "There is very little evidence that smoking marijuana as a means of taking it represents a significant health risk. Although cannabis has been smoked widely in Western countries for more than 4 decades, there have been no reported causes of lung cancer or emphysema attributed to marijuana. I suspect that a day's breathing in any city with poor air quality possesses more of a threat than inhaling a day's dose, which for many ailments is just a portion of a joint of marijuana." The following is a list of some of the different reasons for deaths every year, and the amount. Tobacco kills 435,000 people a year. Poor diet and physical activity alone, 365,000. Alcohol, 65,000. Motor vehicle accidents, 26,347. Suicide, 30,622. Homicide, 20,308. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs such as aspirin, which is right in your medicine cabinet probably right now, kills 7,300 people a year. How many does marijuana kill? 0. Marijuana has never proven a death for any individual in our country in its history. What else does marijuana do for us? Marijuana doesn't just help with pain and nausea, but it's actually been known to slow down the dementia in Alzheimer's patients. However, this generation of Alzheimer's patients still believe what they have been told about marijuana their whole lives. It's doing drugs and it's illegal. This is the way my father was raised. This is the way he was raised to think, and he has Alzheimer's. It's time to change this mentality and use our intelligence to get out the truth. Who are we helping by keeping it illegal? A man by the name of Keith Mono wrote an interesting article about the very subject of medically necessary marijuana. He writes about his ill mother, and I'm going to read this word for word because I think it's important. "My mother was dying in the winter of 1986. A metastatic tumor clasped her spine. She couldn't walk. Radiation therapy was undertaken to burn the growth out, and after 10 sessions, a CAT scan found, though radiation can be traumatic." I'm sorry, let me read that one more time. "Radiation therapy was undertaken to burn the growth out, and after 10 sessions, a CAT scan found her spinal compression much reduced. It itself, though, radiation can be traumatic. It nauseated my mother. The mention of food was repulsive. Even with intravenous sugar, her weight fell from 105 pounds to under 90 pounds, and she couldn't answer my grip. An already fragile 76-year-old constitution had struggled and given up. She was wasting, and so I went out and committed a crime. I bought marijuana in the untidy neighborhood around 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. At home, I made dough and baked pot cookies. Crumb by crumb, I force-fed my mother. She had little saliva. Often cookie bits were regurgitated, but the appetite-arousing chemical in marijuana got into her system. 3 hours after I had begun feeding pot to her, my mother signaled to me to near her and grab my hand. I bent to listen, and she said, Maybe I could try just a taste of a cheeseburger. What can we do to help? We need to speak out. Go to the polls. California must have marijuana legalized by 2%. The reason this happened is because the young people in our nation do not think they can make a difference. They're wrong. Had the young people made it to the polls, marijuana would be legalized today in California, and it would be on the next ballot of other states in our country. In 1996, and I'm going to go through some stats and then I'll be done, but I think these are vital. In 1996, California became the first state to legalize medical marijuana. Over the next decade and a half, 15 states and the District of Columbia followed suit. In 1997, more than 400,000 people are behind bars for drug violations, up from only 50,000 in 1980. In 2006, more than 26,000 people die of accidental drug overdose in the United States. In 2010, California's Proposition 19, a ballot measure to tax and regulate marijuana, makes history by winning over 46% of the vote. In 2010, roughly 1.7 million are arrested for a drug violation. 4 out of 5 of these arrests are for mere possession. Overall, more than 500,000 people are behind bars for a drug law violation. In closing, it costs $26,350 per year to cover the cost of one inmate. And they have better health coverage than you and I combined. Even if you are like me and you don't smoke marijuana, do you really want to keep footing the bill to keep others from smoking it too? Think about it. It's a free country. If someone wants to smoke marijuana, a healthier choice than alcohol, is it really up to us to tell them they can't? Do you really want to keep paying money, lots of money, to control the choices of others? I sure as hell don't. Think about poor Keith. Does he deserve to go to prison for wanting to help his very ill mother from dying a painful, inhumane death of starvation? Do you want your teenagers experimenting with alcohol or marijuana after all the facts I just gave you? Alcohol kills. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking and praying, I hope my children choose to try marijuana rather than alcohol if they do make that choice. We need to get these laws changed. If we keep it illegal and less accessible to our teens, they will resort to trying the easily accessible alcohol, and that, folks, is worth legalizing marijuana in itself, not even including the other facts that I've discussed. Please start speaking out. If not for you, then do it for your dying friend or family member. Do it for the kids that are inevitably experimenting younger and younger ages. Do it for Keith and his poor starving mother. Go to the polls, be heard, and even join legalization of marijuana programs. Get involved. If we don't speak out, if we don't speak for ourselves, who else will speak for us? Now is the time. Today is